So hi everyone, it's 7:01, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. I am on Instagram Live and YouTube Live, so I don't know where to look, so forgive me if I am going back and forth. We're gonna start off with some prayer today, so if you will, bow your heads, raise your hands, whatever you do to pray, and pray with me. Dear God, I thank you for this day, and I thank you for the time you've given us to sit down and just focus on your word, God. I thank you that you've given us this Easter season and that we can celebrate our new life through the life of your Son, God. Lord, I ask that you please bless this time. Give me the words that you would have for me to say, God. And I just ask that you please be with each of us as this time is uncertain. I thank you for all that you're doing. In your Son's name I pray. Amen. So I am not John. Things are a little different today. I'm giving John a bit of a break. So today we're going to dive in to what is known as Maundy Thursday. So today is obviously not Thursday. I do get confused during quarantine, but I know today is Wednesday. So tomorrow is what's known as Maundy Thursday, and it is typically celebrated the Thursday before Easter. And this is the day that we believe Jesus sat down with his disciples to have the Last Supper. And something really cool that goes on before the Last Supper or during the Last Supper is that Jesus washes his disciples' feet. So when Jesus came to earth as a baby, a lot of people were expecting this great and mighty king, this incredible ruler. But they got a poor baby, a baby who didn't even have a house to be born in, who didn't even have a nice place to lay his head when he came into the world. He wasn't born into a rich family. He wasn't born into a family with status. He came in the most unexpected way. And he also died in the most unexpected way. And he served just like that in a way that nobody else thought he should. He should have been this great warrior who came and just took over and set everyone free, but he didn't. Instead, he chose to wash his disciples' feet. The most humble thing you can do, get down on the floor with a bucket and a washcloth and wash a bunch of men's stinky feet. So we're going to start with John 13, verses 5 through 16. Then he poured water into the basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel with which he was girded. So he came to Simon Peter. He said to him, "Lord, do you wash my feet?" Jesus answered and said to him, "What I do you do not realize now, but you will understand hereafter." Peter said to him, "Never shall you wash my feet." Jesus answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no part with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, then wash not only my feet, but also my hands and my head." And Jesus said to him, "He who bathed needs only to wash his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not all of you." For he knew the one who was betraying him. For this reason he said, "Not all of you are clean." So when he had washed their feet and taken his garments and reclined at the table again, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then, the Lord and the teacher, washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I gave you an example that you also should do this as I do to you. Truly, truly, I say to you, a slave is not greater than his master, nor is one who is sent greater than the one who sent him." So Jesus, this great and mighty King, this man who was also God, took water into a basin, took off his garments, and put a towel on himself so that he could serve his disciples. So that he could serve his disciples who he knew one of them was sitting there and had already agreed to betray him. Jesus didn't just wash Simon Peter's feet, who obviously loved him. He washed all of their feet, no matter where their heart was, no matter what their intentions were. Jesus knew what was going on. He wasn't stupid. He's God. He's got it. But he still humbled himself, and he got down on probably a dirt floor and took off these disciples' sandals, who had been walking all day long to make preparations for that evening. They had probably been walking on dusty and dirty roads, and they probably didn't get to bathe regularly. But he wasn't afraid of that. He didn't shy away from that. The disciples thought this was weird. If you went to eat dinner and your dad said, okay, before we eat together, I want each of you to sit down and I'm going to wash your feet for you. Excuse me? No, thank you. So this was strange. Jesus was doing an oddball job. And yet he used it as a lesson, not only for his disciples, but also for us. He set an example and said, "For I gave you an example that you also should do as I did to you." That does not mean when we're at a restaurant, we take out our little Clorox wipes or our little hand sanitizer wipes and we say, "Okay, everybody, attention please, attention. I need you to take off your shoes so I can wash your feet." That is not what Jesus was saying. He's saying that we are not here to be rulers. We are not here to be conquerors. That's not where our identity is. Our identity is in Him and in being a servant with Him. He came to serve others, to perform miracles, to prove who He was, and then to die for us. The ultimate service. He died so that we could see Him again one day, that He would be seated on the right hand of the throne, and we would be able to stand before Him and worship. Jesus was the ultimate servant. And just days before He died, He gave us a perfect example of that. He got down on His hands and knees, and He washed probably the dirtiest feet we've ever seen. So what are you doing to serve others? Are you willing to get down on your hands and knees and get dirty and do the jobs that everybody thinks is weird and nobody else wants to do? Are you willing to be a light in someone's life? I'm sure when Jesus was washing Judas Iscariot's feet, Judas had just agreed to betray Jesus. And Jesus got down to wash his feet even still. Can you imagine what Judas must have been thinking? I know there are people in our lives that we don't necessarily like, we don't necessarily agree with. How are we treating them? Are we still being a servant? Or are we just kind of being nasty people? So as we go into Maundy Thursday tomorrow, I ask that you just think on that. Think what you're doing to serve others. Not just things that make you seem like a cool person, not just things that make you feel good, but what are you doing to actually make a difference in someone else's life? There's a lot of darkness in our world right now, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of fear. And although we can't be next to each other physically, you may not be able to go mow somebody's lawn for them. You may not be able to open the door for someone at a store. You may not be able to do a physical act of service. But are you checking in? Are you serving them with your time? We've all got a lot of extra time, whether we like to admit it or not. What are you doing to make a difference? So Jesus got down and washed nasty feet. I'm pretty sure we can find a way to make a difference in our world. So thank you for joining me today. It's super short, but I just want to challenge you. And I also want to challenge you to go back and read the story of Jesus's last day with his disciples. So I wish you all well. I hope you have a wonderful Maundy Thursday tomorrow and a good Friday. And we'll see you again on Easter. Thank you.